I saw this in Discord. This fucking trigger point was like, Kirsche is partnering with Starforge. I was told by many in the general VTuber community that she would never get another sponsor again. And they're talking about Starforge, and then one of the seething freaks was like, when your beloved president is in the Epstein files, you need to find every shred of anecdotes that validates you. When you need an own on someone who makes fun of your pudgy 36-year-old ass, you don't need to check if they actually said something, or if you make any sense.
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation
What
between
is he?
Elon and
Have a
Trump.
nice day, DJD. Someone should take his phone away. Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the fuck are they doing?
Brother, what? Brother, what? You thought Nyara said they were done talking about me? All of the seething freaks said that they were done talking about me, but the majority of their engagement comes from talking about me, so they can't stop. Man never asks for rent. And then Nyara fucking quote retweeted that and says, huh, so what I did wasn't actually quote unquote life ruination after all, huh? Brother, just because your life ruination attempt failed didn't mean you didn't fucking do it. Imagine being unable to perceive breakfast this hard. Like, at this point, I genuinely can't tell if this guy's a fucking retard or if they're actually that fucking malicious. You can't tell. Genuinely can't fucking tell at this point. Retarded and malicious. I can't go to jail because I didn't kill him. I just tried to. Yeah, imagine. I'm still in a fucking bunker because I got fucking actual threats I had to take to my police, man. Come the fuck on. Moral relativist? Yeah. Also, greetings, Kirsche and honorable chatters. Imagine making a throwaway comment and being shocked and confused when the Foxu reads it. I mean, you never know what I'm gonna read you. You're always at risk of my eyeballs molesting you in my chat. Retard fires a gun, misses, and hits people in the crowd. I guess I didn't shoot. Yeah, true. Yeah, fucking true. Even Shank responded here. He's like, I only attempted murder, but I was unsuccessful, so I didn't really do anything wrong, now did I? Yeah, these people are absolutely fucking evil. They think they're the good people, but they're not. And that makes me bring over, where is this other post? I also woke up to having this T-Man post in my DMs. And I don't know why my post is visibility limited. His post is visibility limited, so maybe it just like carried over. Maybe it carried over, and I don't really understand how this violates X's rules against abuse. This other fuckwit that he's quote retweeting has protected their account, I think. Yeah, you're unable to view the post because his account owner limits who can see their posts. So can't see that post anymore, because I guess, you know, after these people decide to throw stones, they get scared of the people that don't agree with them. So T-Man said, oh my god, you retards actually posted the DMs for me. But don't stop there! Make sure to include all of it. Make sure you include the part where you're willing to make Akemi go homeless over this, you vile, slimy fuck. Let everyone see just who you are, and then he adds the slimy fuck who also protected their account because they can hit women, but they can't take it when people defend the women. By the way, yes, I actually have had people come after me in my business trying to get me shut down. And it was done by disgusting... Oh, I guess maybe that's why it's visibility limited. I didn't even notice he used slurs. So no, I'm not going to dance to your tune, get fucked, and start taking her advice on the matter. I can't believe how easy it was to bait you in exposing yourself and that you wanted to post the DMs. Absolute retard. Yeah, slurs! Who's Akemi? Akemi is a smaller VTuber who was partnered with, oh god, some other subs company. I can't remember what subs company it was. I don't think it was Advanced GG, but it was some other subs company. And they were like discussing, oh, she's defending Kirsche and Kirsche's a Nazi, so maybe we shouldn't have her on as a partner. And Akemi was like, actually, yeah, I don't want to be a partner with you fucks. Get out of my face. Like, she just stood up for herself and obviously lost that sponsor. But that got her a fuck ton more attention. A lot of people stood up for her. T-Man offered her a sponsor, so she's been thriving. She's been thriving over here. T-Man's so cool. People call him transphobic, but he really isn't. He accepted your affiliation request, so no, he's not bigoted or transphobic. Yeah, but you don't count because reasons. Shut up. You like the way that cat girl thinks. Yeah, exactly. I gave a very like TLDR of the situation, but it happened like a month ago or some shit. Kind of weird the subs company using a Walmart version of Pepe the Frog is so sensitive. Yeah. I don't think it was Advanced GG she was with now that I'm saying it, but I genuinely can't remember. Was it Poggers? Poggers was the prior sponsor? Okay, so that was the Pepe the Frog people. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me, chat. I'm bad at remembering all of the names that aren't Advanced or gamersupps. Occasionally I remember G Fuel exists. Speaking of gamersupps, make sure you're using code fucking Kirsche for 10% off your gamersupps orders. You support the Fox woman and you tell gamersupps where their money comes from, baby. Poggers Company, they offered you a sponsorship too? Only gamersupps for this guy. Hell yeah. Oh my god. Do you think they're called True Scum? Yeah, True Scum are the actual trans people, like the actual dysphoric people, who say that like you do need the diagnosis of dysphoria to claim a trans identity. And so people who don't have the dysphoria diagnosis call those trans people true scum because, you know, they're also trans med, I think, or like med scum or whatever. They got their little special words for those trans people that they don't like. Poggers reached out to you back in early April. Bro, at this point, half your channel are Kirsche clips. That's funny. Your channel has so many clips of me that people think you're like some sort of official editor that I pay. Imagine. Like Azehara's been called as like an affiliate or like an official editor for me so many fucking times. It sucks that you gotta deal with these weirdo ideologues. Yeah, it sucks when they go after anyone, man. It sucks when they go after anyone. Fan service games, thank you. They should find a bridge. Oh, Jesus Christ. But the DMs here that Dragon Man posted, the guy said, hello, just want to let you know that you have a partner/ambassador that's probably not someone you want repping your company. And so T-Man said, hello there, has there been an issue with Miss Akemi? And the weird guy said, oh, yep, I just realized the first photo didn't send, sorry about that. And they sent an image of like a meme here, you know, a meme that I can't post. She's harassing trans individuals. You can see other comments in the hidden replies of the OG post. And there's more DMs here. I get why Lenin started silencing dissenters. We gotta get rid of you people. Holy fuck. And T-Man said, yeah, we have seen the postings made and it's gotten ugly on both sides, as does happen on Twitter. However, we worry about the potential damage we might do to someone if we take their financials away. It might potentially damage Akemi's real life. And I love how fucking T-Man baited this because we all know that that's their fucking goal. We all know that that's what they want. And so the weirdo guy says, ugly on both sides, as if she didn't start it first. Wow! Imagine lying! She's quite literally telling a trans person to take her life. I don't think it's unfair of those being victimized to hit back. And I think the greatest part is, like, if I started releasing all of the, like every single threat that I got, even the basic, like, kill yourselves, right? Like, even the ones that you can just ignore because who the fuck cares? They would just be like, well, it doesn't matter because Kirsche deserves it, right? Like, that would be their state of mind. They're just like, we don't deserve it because we're the good people, but she does. I don't think it's unfair of those being victimized to hit back.
Shall we?
That's a filthy lie. They absolutely think it's wrong for people to hit back. They do. They absolutely think it's wrong for people to hit back. They don't have anything besides fucking lying. I don't think it's unfair of those being victimized to hit back. The lives of people seeking harm on others deserve to be damaged. True. Like you, like Nyara, like Bint, like Anna Valens. Yeah, I agree with you there, actually. Incredibly disappointing that you're taking the side of right-wing extremists and people that do nothing but wish harm on others. Dude, compile every death threat, including their names, into a giant Google docu. Do I have a count on the number of threats I've gotten, even an approximation? No, because most of them are just like random flailing people online. So it's just like, oh, I got another death threat. Must be a day ending in Y. Haha, funny. You know, like occasionally when it's like really, really detailed, I'll post about it on Twitter because it's just like, God damn, this guy needs more than just meds. He needs the happy van to come and pay him a visit. You swear these fucking things. Yeah, right. How dare you defend yourself as we attack you? And that's what I said after, which I'll get to. And T-Man responded, she has not done anything that would target the person in real life, has she? People can verbally hit back on Twitter, but to hit someone's livelihood over words on Twitter would be a bit extreme, no? If they lose our sponsorship, what if they find another job? Should they be let go from that job as well for their comments? Should they be allowed to work at all? And again, this is a good point. You can fucking fling shit on Twitter and get shit flung back at you. But you absolutely should not have your address posted. You shouldn't have pictures posted. If you're anonymous, you shouldn't have like people posting your address and making threats towards you. You shouldn't have people doing like incredible calls to violence, right? Like there's a difference between like kill yourself and I'm going to come to your house, post address, and I'm going to kill you in this incredibly detailed way, right? Like there's a difference between those things. And so the seething Twitter freak responded, this is real life. Twitter isn't some fantasy game we play. People are not AI bots on this app. Words matter, regardless of them being verbal or text or not. If your mental is so low that you can't handle having a disagreement on Twitter, you should probably leave Twitter. Like, not even derogatory get the fuck out, but like for your own sanity and mental health, you should leave Twitter. If you aren't looking at Twitter as an ocean of piss that you piss into, and occasionally other people will notice, hey, this pool of piss is slightly warmer than before. Who did that? And then they all look at you as you're continuously peeing. If you aren't imagining Twitter as that, you're going to have a hard time. You've seen a lot of Christian VTubers coming in as well, and they're breathing fire at the far left VTweeters. Good! I love to see Christians breathing fire now. Don't just turn around after you got fucking donkey punched and say Jesus loves you. Say Jesus loves you and I'm going to help you meet him, right? Like, fucking fight back, dude. Are you telling me that if people constantly came at you telling you to take your life and sent you distressing images like the one I linked above, excuse me, distressing images like someone made a fucking soy jack meme? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Would you like me to send all of the like fucking Russian soldiers getting blown up that people have sent to me? Because for some reason, when I say not my clay, not my problem, they think I'm anti-Ukraine instead of just not caring about any war. Like, I don't want war to happen. I don't want people to die, but it's not my country. Don't send my tax dollars over there. And Twitter's the PvP of social networks. The low threshold is so tiresome. It really is. It really fucking is. There's, I can't remember if it was, Elle or if it was another one of the women I was on a podcast with recently. I think it was Elle. But, like, people were posting her address. And so eventually she just got fed up. And whenever she would get like threats publicly on Twitter, she would quote retweet the threat with her address and be like, yeah, come and try it. How would you feel if your company was the target of a mass mob of people threatening you over your livelihood? This guy lives in an absolute bubble because that is quite literally what's been happening to T-Man since he started defending me. Like, what the fuck? Would they just be words and not real life then? Or is it only circumstantial to when it best suits you? No. If people were going after, right? Like if we just remove all of the context of a situation, right? And we take the seething Twitter freak. If people were going after the seething Twitter freak and the seething Twitter freak had done nothing first, that would be wrong. That would be wrong. I guarantee the only money she makes isn't just from a sponsorship from your company, but it is incredibly telling of your values as a company, who you choose to have represent you. Continue the grift, I suppose. And then T-Man responded, we actually know the percent of our revenue that makes up her monthly income. And we know that if she loses us, she will be in a financially terrible position. Sorry, I can't English. She would be at risk of going homeless. And I think the funny part about this is that a lot of the people who tried virtue signaling over, oh, I can't drop my gamersupps sponsor because I'm in a contract and like, I really need the money, bro. Like, you have no idea how much this code helps me. But like, Kirsche should lose her code. Kirsche doesn't deserve to have the gamersupps sponsor. And it's like, do you hear yourself? Well, you're simultaneously saying that you need the money from your gamersupps code and then campaigning to get them to drop me. Do you not understand how fucked that is? Hypocrites, all hypocrites. And I got a fun couple of screenshots about that today. T-Man continues, I'm willing to move this up the chain to the higher ups of the company, but only if you're okay with that knowledge. I love how he does this because obviously the people contacting him to drop sponsors don't know that he is the fucking company. They can't even infer from his name and the name of the company that he's the fucking owner. So somehow this fucking worked. Like, it's like the fucking accidental chess that I played with the fucking Offkai owner. Like, you just say something that no normal human being would ever believe, and it just works. It's free real estate. I am the law. I'm willing to move this up the chain to the higher ups of the company, but only if you're okay with that knowledge of Akemi losing financial and possibly going homeless. That she may actually lose everything if I do. Would you be okay with that? Should I send it up to the people in charge of these matters? And the seething Twitter freak says, call me a horrible person for it, but I think people that actively make threats against others should lose things. Yes. I would lose absolutely no sleep over someone like that struggling and learning what it's like to struggle. Maybe she'd learn empathy on the streets. It could be a good learning opportunity for her. These people want you broke, dead, your kids raped and brainwashed, and they think it's funny. That quote applies every single fucking time you encounter one of these people. And every single time I have to read one of these people's thoughts, it makes me ever so slightly less likely to give any benefit of the doubt to anyone, right? Like, if I didn't have to play by, like, TOS rules and, like, you know, being good to my sponsors, the things that I would say about these disgusting, wretched cockroaches. Give no quarter. Hypocrites are the most evil thing of all time in your eyes. You know, pedos exist, but you still hate hypocrites more. It's just Jesus fucking Christ. And it's always ironic. I think people that actively make threats against others should lose things. I'm glad that once again, this guy thinks that Nyara should lose things, Bint should lose things, Anna Valens should lose things, Vice as a company should lose things. I'm glad that he can take my side and defend me in this. Caught in 4K. And so the seething Twitter freak ends this off with, being a person so full of hatred for people just living their lives. Yeah, I could not care less about what happens to their financials or their home or their life, to be honest with you. I just don't think for your company, logistically speaking, it's the best idea to have someone like that actively repping your company. Remember what the sweet baby lady said? You just gotta go to the marketers and you gotta terrify them about the consequences that they will be shown on social media if they don't capitulate to your demands.
Put this stuff up to your higher ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Shows poorly on you and the people you choose to represent your business. But what do I know? I don't own a business, much less one infested with disgusting people like that. And with this seething Twitter freak's attitude, they will never own a business or do anything more important than putting fries in the bag, probably not even correctly at that point. This is why you order from Dragon's Treasure, the anime-themed tea company that tells people who deserve it to end themselves. I still can't believe that's a real fucking sentence that I read in current fucking year, dude. Holy shit. I don't own a business. We know. Yeah, exactly. And so my response to this, because I see fucking red. I didn't realize he put slurs in the post, but you know. So I just responded with obviously the Sam Hyde quote, because again, it applies every fucking time. And I said, these ideologues have become twisted by their beliefs, by the belief that they are a good person. And so anything they do to you is morally righteous and correct. And that is genuinely how they feel. And a lot of their actions will start making sense if you begin to look at them in this manner. They don't have an opinion. They don't have a mind that can be changed. They feel they are correct. They are the revolutionaries fighting against you, the evil fascist, and that's exactly what they think you are, and their minds will not be changed. They will scream, cry, and play victim when you defend yourself because you aren't supposed to. And much like all of the fictitious novels and movies that they base their politics around, the bad guy is supposed to lose. The evil guy is not supposed to defend themselves. The good guy always wins. And so that's why every single time when you defend yourself, when you push back on their psychotic abilities, they'll just start claiming they're the victim. They'll start crying. They'll start asking for money. They'll start saying, oh, I deleted my account, therefore I've been run off the internet. And it's just like, brother, look at the amount of pushback that I have gotten versus Anna. And I haven't gone anywhere online. I'm still doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm still doing my job. I had to flee my apartment for a little bit. I know, fucking physical safety in real life comes first, but I still fucking came back. I'm still here with everyone. T-Man says he's getting emails in his latest post. Oh boy. Even in emails, unfortunately I can't tag them here. I hate these people. Hi, I came across one of your sponsors on Twitter. I'm a huge tea fan and would have loved buying from you guys. I worked at an artisan tea cafe for 5 years. I just don't believe you. This is exactly what they do every single time. And this is also why I say, when you see people out in the wild that are just like, I used to be a big fan of Kirsche, but she's changed. Like, all this hatred and politics. This isn't the old Kirsche. Like, you just know they're lying. They are trying to emotionally manipulate you. Anytime you see someone do the, I like Kirsche, but they're not a fan. Everything they say after that but proves they've never watched my content. There's one guy who makes that comment on every single one of my VODs and videos as well. He does it as a joke. I appreciate that guy. And they use the I would buy from you card, like we both know damn net well they never intended to. Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that play out with the fucking crime boss shit. But this is how they strike fear into companies to get companies to capitulate to what they're doing. Because this puts in the company's mind, I am losing customers. Because they're not terminally online. They have a fucking job to do. But I'm appalled to see the kind of behavior you guys are sponsoring. Does this seem appropriate in any way? I mean, this honestly. How can you guys send money to someone who is this bigoted, hateful, and violent? I really hope you unpartner with this person for so many reasons. One, because it's the right thing to do. I would just fucking, like, if I owned a company and I got emails like this, it would take every fiber of my being to not just Sam Hyde respond to them with nothing but the N-word. And two, because this behavior is more and more mainstream and your funding it only makes it more popular. Well, it looks like T-Man has to continue funding it then, doesn't he? Because everyone is sick of these fucking people. Thanks, the world is shitty enough already without people like this getting a spotlight and monetary reward for their hate. These people want you broke. And they are not obtuse about it. They just directly fucking say it. They just directly fucking say it. That's crazy. I didn't want to bring this up until I knew a bit more about the situation. So this happened, I think, like last week, question mark? Yeah, it was actually on the 31st, so exactly a fucking week ago. People last week asked me, they were like, hey, are you still partnered with gamersupps? Because like some guy's going around saying that like gamersupps dropped you. And I was like, what? No, use code Kirsche for 10% off your order. What are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm confused. So apparently there is a large YouTuber, because of course, you know, they're always larger than me. They always like to be like, oh, you can't punch down. But then, you know, it's always the large YouTubers here. And then I like Asmongold's response, like, I don't punch up, I don't punch down, I punch back, as it were. So this guy, on the 31st of last month, said, oh shit, gamersupps axed that alt-right VTuber. And someone else in his Discord said, who? And someone else said, alt-right VTuber, how are you gonna be a VTuber and be alt-right? What a loser. And the YouTuber guy said, I think they were called Kirsche or something. They got picked up by gamersupps, which started a huge controversy and caused several people to drop them. And the other guy said, wait, did they actually axe her? And the YouTuber said, wasn't bigger because it happened during the Cinder thing. I don't know if it's insider stuff, but apparently behind the scenes, they've sent her to the pasture. Which this guy is just talking out of his fucking ass. Probably because he wants people to continue using his code. And he has one of those cannibalistic audiences that are just like, Mr. YouTuber man, how dare you be sponsored by gamersupps when gamersupps sponsors this white supremacist fox woman. Right? They're like, I can't buy your shit with your code because she exists. And again, why would you want to cultivate an audience like that, you fucking freak? You love the, I don't know what their name is, even though I brought them up. that'll get even funnier once you see what else he's posted. It's funny to you that I already had a code and people only noticed and started seeing when the merch drop happened, or are you misremembering? No, you're not misremembering. I've been partnered with gamersupps since September 2023. It was just my merch drop happened this year. And I had a larger merch drop than most people get for their first merch drop because, correctly so, the gamersupps guys assumed that I would sell fucking massive amounts, and they were very correct. So I thought this was really funny, and there were some other screenshots that were posted by the wonderful autistic archivers. Thank you for that. Thank you, I was alerted. So back on April 29th, this YouTuber who, again, was like, oh, I think their name was Kirsche or something, pretending to not know who I am. Back on the 29th of April, so this was, I think, while I was still on vacation, they said gamersupps hasn't made a single post since the 21st because I think they got 1-2 punched by this and the Kirsche stuff, this being the Cinder situation. And he said, it's been mad awkward promoting gamersupps recently. You know who it hasn't been awkward to promote gamersupps for? Fucking me. I've been shilling the fuck out of them because I don't give a shit how many of you whiny, pissy little bitch boys complain and try to virtue signal. I am still going to push product. And then May 19th, this YouTuber said, yes, therein lies the concern I have. I love the managers and friends at gamersupps. And some other guy in his Discord said, yeah, that makes sense. And the YouTuber says, but my audience isn't, I will buy anything that has my name on it. He continues, I am not, Jay Schlott is one of the owners. My audience is progressive, so if they hear about stuff like this, obviously they're gonna boycott gamersupps. I can't say like, oh, keep giving them money for me. It's not right, innit? Oh, is he fucking British too? How disgusting. The Bostonian in me needs to throw him into the fucking harbor. But also, remember when Tricky Wee said that Trump should have gotten shot? Remember when people were like, hey, Tricky, maybe you shouldn't say that. And she was like, fuck off. If you don't like it, unfollow me. I didn't tell you guys, hey, boycott gamersupps. I didn't tell you guys, hey, you shouldn't, you know, if you feel bad about it, you shouldn't use my code. It's just like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going to buy anything that Tricky puts out on gamersupps because fuck it, right? Like, I don't give a shit. But my code and what you guys purchase from gamersupps has nothing to fucking do with her. So it's like, why would I care? Why would I care? Why would you guys stop supporting me just because of what someone else says? That is an insane leap in logic. An insane leap in logic. And the fact that he knows his audience would just completely stop supporting him because of what someone else says or does, just because a company also sponsors that person. Like, I'm sure gamersupps doesn't give a fuck about any of our political leanings. They're an apolitical company. They don't get involved. And again, like I said in my cease and desist, that's what I like about them. They will sponsor all manner of people, whether I agree or disagree with them. And it's up to me if I want to support the individual creator. My IRL oomph kept saying he was innocent and didn't even do whatever people said he did. I don't even know what that guy's talking about. It is not, but consider this. And then the YouTuber continues, Schlott doesn't really pay attention to business stuff, so I don't know. Keyword for me right now is conflicted. Brother, you should just keep like shilling your code like normal. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Well, like, this guy on Twitter has 82,000 followers. 82,000 followers. Doesn't really seem to get much, you know, fucking attention on his post. I can't think of the word. My brain died. My brain fucking died. Doesn't really seem to get much interactions here. You know? But on his YouTube, he's got 375,000 subscribers. 375K, baby. I'm not even at 100. And you're just like, this bitch should be dropped. It's kind of awkward for me to try and make money off of my sponsorship because this bitch is alive and exists. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is actually wrong with you? And someone asked, can you really cut ties with them just like that? And in a wild bout of having zero self-awareness, he says, I'm on contract, and even if I wanted to break it, my bros are in the company. I have friends in the company, and I also get some of my other friends into the company. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? What the fuck? I'm on contract. I need the money. I can't break my contract. And I've gotten friends into the company. So like, I wouldn't want to break my contract even if I could. Well then good, don't. Keep fucking selling. What do I have to do with any of this? What is wrong with you? And he continues, from what I heard, since the author of the article makes questionable content, they've gone after them. I'm tired, boss. Why can't people just be kind and shit? Yeah, I'm tired too. Why are you fucking defending anal violence, a Vice journalist that baselessly slandered me to the point where Vice took down the fucking articles, and this freak writes about cis girl rape breeding camps? That's who you're fucking defending. But I guess that makes sense since your country's used to having roving rape gangs, ain't it? Holy shit. Why can't we just be nice? I don't know. Why did I have to leave my apartment because of death threats I was getting? Fucking Thafnine. How about that? Right for the throat. I'm fucking sick of it, bro. I'm fucking sick of these people trying to get me financially ruined while knowing nothing about me. Pure assault. Must be West London. And these are just some people in his Discord. Someone, again on the 19th, said, I love how VTuber Twitter made more of a fuss about drama than a literal Nazi in their circle. I'm not a fucking Nazi. My mom dated a guy in the Aryan Brotherhood for over a fucking decade. If anyone knows what a Nazi is like and how fucking shit they are, it's me. You guys have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Someone else said, you're not ready. Trust me, I looked it up myself because someone went to look up the article. And someone else said, boom, a child, no, what the actual shit? And they link the Vice article that, again, got pulled after threat of cease and desist. So, like, come the fuck on. Imagine reading a headline and believing it. When they say punch down, it's because they believe conservatives are fundamentally beneath them? Fucking probably, man. Thafnine switches between male and female models, which says a lot. Why are all of my enemies the same? There's, this is the what the actual shit. So this is from the post of just the headline of the article that, again, was redacted. And the YouTuber Thafnine here responds, gamersupps endorses them, which is why I'm like gritting teeth face a million times. Already been DM'd by friends and moots saying they'll no longer buy anything gamersupps until they deal with this. Yeah, somehow I feel like I bring in a lot more money than whatever, like, 4 people probably DM'd you. And also, gamersupps does not endorse me. There's a difference between a sponsor and an endorsement. The shit that I say reflects only me and myself. None of my sponsors co-sign any of the shit that I say. And to apply any of the shit that I say to them, simply because they make money off of me, is insane. I am not going to attribute any other sponsors to what other people say on Twitter. Unless they tag their sponsor, in which case, I can't argue with that one. You did that to yourself. And then some other guy in Thafnine's Discord said, I don't know how true this is, but I found another Reddit post that said they're losing their badge or their endorsement. And again, this was back on May 19th. And this guy pretended to not know who I was on May 31st when he posted about gamersupps totally definitely dropping me. Use code Kirsche for 10% off your order, by the way. And Thafnine continues, doesn't help that gamersupps aren't saying anything and are, sadly correctly, assuming most streamers would be desperate enough for a merch/waifu cup/money from code usage, so they'll hand wave it and plug their code in the masses in the replies of a gamersupps tweet. It's why I'm conflicted. Code usage helps me a ton. I was just like, it is insane to like read this guy being like, yeah, it doesn't help. Most streamers would be desperate enough for merch waifu cup money. And then he says, yeah, code usage helps me a ton. So it's like most streamers, including yourself, right? Most streamers, including yourself, because you're not out here dropping your contract. In fact, you've complained multiple times about how, well, I can't drop my contract. I have friends in the company. The code usage helps me. Maybe just stop thinking about a cartoon anime woman and fucking focus on your own bag, brother. How about that? How about them apples? Someone else said, it's honestly just a really murky situation. And T9 said, Joe Cat's contract was already up when he made his statement. Actually acknowledging that Joe Cat was only being a filthy fucking virtue signaler. Even the people on his side were like, yeah, what Joe Cat did didn't matter. The only person with a contract who terminated was Rin Penrose, who fucking probably made zero money for the company anyways, based on her own statistics. The others don't want to lose the free money. The others, like yourself. Am I wrong? Someone else said, which is very fair. And then Thafnine said, look at gamersupps announcement posts and look at how many VTubers plug their code. There's so many codes. And then someone said, maybe, just maybe, they just give codes to fucking everyone without a background check. I've been partnered with them for over 2 years, buddy. Try again. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, because it doesn't make sense to give a code to an alt-right asshole and to Thaf at the same time. That should make sense to you. That should be how every fucking company operates. What do you mean? They should absolutely be neutral. A company should want to make money, not make political fucking statements. Holy shit. I don't care if people at gamersupps agree or disagree with me politically. I care that they keep making fucking nice tasting sups and banging art and merchandise. That's what I care about. Your favorite part about all this is that they can't fathom that there are VTubers that are not left-leaning. It's because for some reason they've convinced themselves that they have the default opinion because they are the good guys. So how could the good guys not be the default, the majority, what everybody believes in, right? Like it's actual insanity. These people are crazy and they want you broke and dead. And you know, it didn't work. And just because it didn't work didn't mean you didn't try doing it. So Thafnine, go fuck yourself. JD knows incredible. What is this? What did he say?
Oh wait, this is interesting.
Pull it up. Let's see it.
This
let's
post is from an account you muted. I'm curious. Who did you mute?
Who is that guy?
Is that yours? It's one of your producers.
Ian Mealy's Shong. Oh, it said Trump should be impeached.
Oh, the fucking
and JD Vance
drink.
replace him, dude. That's one vote.
Oh my god.
Oh
wait, this is interesting.
He knows. That's funny. I liked the drink. I liked the drink response. That was good. The sip. That was real fun. JD Vance is a meme machine, unironically. That's pretty fucking funny. But Savvy over here. Savvy had a little thread that says, a window into the LinkedIn doom scroll of, oh my god, they aren't doing Pride this year. Ah! First 4 images are from Ken and how he went from bank guy to activist. He thinks companies actually care and aren't just chasing points and tax breaks. This guy is Ken Jansen's co-founder at Window. I don't know who that is. As Pride Month begins, I like how they have a surrender flag there. It can be hard to know which companies are still showing up for LGBTQ plus inclusion, not just with rainbow logos, but with measurable, meaningful action. At Window, we've analyzed 280 corporate sustainability and annual reports released so far this year, focusing specifically on inclusion and belonging, LGBTQ plus included. These reports offer something deeper than headlines, insight into which companies remain transparent, accountable, and committed. Each week this Pride Month will spotlight these, continuing to raise the bar, companies, setting LGBTQ plus workforce targets, recognized globally as the most LGBTQ plus inclusive employers, publishing engagement scores for LGBTQ plus employees, and growing LGBTQ plus workforce representation the most, and running LGBTQ plus marketing campaigns that align with internal action. All posts will be added to this page as we go. And this week, we're starting with the 8 companies still sharing clear LGBTQ plus representation targets, because trust is earned through transparency. And he has a little about section here that says, I'm someone who brings a unique blend of skills through my work as a former chief data officer, the founder of JP Morgan Chase's LGBTQ plus executive council, my intercultural awareness having lived and worked in Tokyo, Sao Paulo, London, and New York, and as a former board chair at Out and Equal. So basically, you know, he used to be a fucking bank guy, as she said. Now he is an activist. Why am I making you do complex variable math? I'm sorry, I also hate math. And they have the experience here, co-founder, head of social impact, Out and Equal, JP Morgan. 24-year career at JP Morgan, goddamn. Goddamn. And she said, here's some more of the LinkedIn doom scroll. The thought leaders are not happy. This looks like it's from Brian Elner. Big brands step back from Pride. You might be seeing fewer rainbows from big brands this Pride Month. About 39% say they're dialing back their public Pride efforts this year, per a survey of corporate executives. Many say they're afraid of customer backlash, like the one Bud Light faced after it partnered with a trans influencer in 2023. Others fear repercussions from a government that's turning its back on DEI initiatives. Some companies are focusing inwards instead, CNN reports, boosting efforts to recruit and engage LGBTQ employees. Cameron Schoneberger. Corporate sponsors are quietly pulling out of Pride events. I wrote an essay about why that is. And his essay is Pride and Pocketbooks Are Economic Fears Dimming the Rainbow. Brian M. Here said, June is here, and with it, the noise. Flags, hashtags, corporate statements, blah, blah, blah. Travis Baker, a general manager somewhere. As we enter Pride Month, I think it's important to address something that often goes unspoken in corporate spaces. Performative allyship. And Aditya Gupta said, let's be honest, the first day of Pride feels different this year.
Spicy cat raid. What the hell is this spicy cat raid?
There's a heaviness that's hard to ignore, and the political climate has cast a long shadow. Brian Elner here again said, this Pride Month I'm sharing a piece I wrote on why corporate courage matters now and how values-led brands can lead with clarity and impact. Why Corporate Courage Matters this month by Brian Elner on LinkedIn. Kristen Parsi, quoting CNN here, said, while brands may be publicly pulling back from Pride Month, many of them are supporting their LGBTQ+ employees privately. Texas is poised to become the latest GOP state to exert control over university curriculum. The gubernatorially appointed boards that oversee Texas universities could soon have new powers to control the curriculum required of students and eliminate degree programs. The legislation sent Monday to Texas Governor Greg Abbott marks the latest effort among Republican-led states to reshape higher education institutions that they have asserted been promoting liberal ideology. It follows similar moves in Florida and Ohio. The state actions come as President Donald Trump's administration has injected itself into higher education, leveraging federal funding and its student visa authority to clamp down on campus activism and stamp out diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Some professors contend the moves violate the principles of academic freedom that many universities have followed for decades. Political operatives have basically used their positions of power, political power, economic power, to demand that the institutions conform to their ideas, said Isaac Kamola, director of the Center for Defense of Academic Freedom at the American Association of University Professors. It's an existential attack on higher education that we're facing, added Kamola, a political science professor at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut. And I think this is really amusing because, again, the long march through the institutions happened decades ago. The institutions have been ideologically captured. And even when I was in school, some teachers still abided by, my students shouldn't know my political affiliation and we shouldn't discuss politics in the classroom. However, it seems that more and more teachers have stopped being professional in that way and want to push politics overtly on their classrooms. And that shouldn't be the case. Didn't Obama do the very same thing with Common Core? And the Marxism has been going at elementary levels in education for years now. You worry for the future? It should be worrying. It should be worrying. And again, to call the defense, to call the cutting out of the Marxist cancer an existential attack on higher education is once again trying to deflect the fact that that is what they did. Maybe not this guy specifically. I don't know how long he's been in academia, but like they as in the Marxists that took over the educational institutions, and trying to say that no, our takeover was the correct thing to do. We're the good guys. You guys defending yourselves and not wanting this nonsense, that's bad. Under the Texas legislation, okay, I did read all of that. I had to go back and check. Under the Texas legislation, governing boards at higher education institutions will be tasked with reviewing and potentially overturning general education curriculum requirements to ensure courses are necessary to prepare students for civic and professional life, equip them for the workforce, and are worth the cost to students. If Texas can actually manage to do that, fucking good on them. I'd love to see it. But it's still the government, so I feel like it will be heavily inefficient. Governing boards will also gain greater power over faculty councils, the employment of academic administrators, and decisions to eliminate minor degree or certificate programs that have low enrollment. The bill also creates a state ombudsman's office to investigate complaints against institutions, including alleged violations of restrictions against diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Nice. This is exactly what we need. Because again, if they're going to play subversive word games and we're not allowed to fight back legally, we're going to need people acting as inspectors to go in and see what they're actually doing. If they keep saying that the wording doesn't matter and you have to be committed to the work, we need people to be able to go in and understand that that work is still DEI, even if it's another name. The objective of this legislation is to provide consistency with respect to our curriculum and the degrees we're offering our students. Republican State Rep Matt Shaheen, co-sponsor of the legislation, said during a House floor debate. Ray Bonilla, an attorney for the Texas A&M University System, one of the state's largest higher education institutions, said the legislation formalizes decisions already being made at the university and wouldn't create an undue workload. But Democratic State Rep Donna Howard said during a May committee hearing that the legislation appears to be extreme micromanagement on the part of the legislature. The bill is not about improving education, it's about increasing control. The commie cries out as it strikes you. Imagine. DEI took some damage, but it's not dead. Very much so. Do not let your guard down now. That is what they want. Make sure that it is resoundingly beaten into the dirt. In Ohio, a new law bans DEI programs at public colleges and universities, strips faculty of certain collective bargaining and tenure protections, and mandates a civil literacy course in order to graduate. In addition to covering the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, the 3-credit-hour course must include at least 5 essays from the Federalist Papers, the letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr., and a study of the principles of Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations, among other things. The law also places restrictions on the handling of controversial beliefs or policies, defined to include climate, immigration or foreign policy, electoral policies, DEI programs, marriage, and abortion. While testifying for his bill, Republican State Senator Jerry Serino cited John Dewey, one of the fathers of progressive education, to condemn what he believes to be a hard tack in the other direction at colleges and universities. Interesting. He believed that all theories should be examined and debated, Serino told fellow lawmakers. He would certainly have been against the woke conformity we see on so many campuses, and the clearly demonstrated liberal leanings of faculty and staff who will tolerate no alternative views. Well, that's an interesting thing to say after it's already completely transformed all of the institutions and you didn't do anything about it. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. Christopher McKnight Nichols, an Ohio State University history professor, said the law has already driven some faculty members to sanitize their websites of controversial content, alter course descriptions, and, in some cases, cancel courses altogether. He said it's never been proven that faculty members are systemically punishing students who don't share their political beliefs. Nichols is among a coalition of Ohio educators, students, and administrators fighting back against the new law. Opponents face a late June deadline to collect enough signatures to place a referendum overturning it on the November ballot. In some ways, the efforts to exert greater state control over college faculty and curriculums are moving higher education closer to a governing model generally seen in K-12 education, said Alec Thompson, president of the National Council for Higher Education at the National Education Association. It's a concerning change in the sense that you would expect the institutions to have a fair amount of autonomy to make these decisions about curriculum. A professor, added Thompson, a professor of political science and history at Schoolcraft College in Livonia, Michigan. During his first term in 2020, Trump issued an executive order combating race and sex stereotyping in federal agencies and contracting that, forbid the promotion of divisive concepts, including that one race or sex is inherently superior to another, that individuals should feel guilty because of their race or sex, and that merit-based systems are racist or sexist. That's good. That's a good thing. What do you mean? Similar prohibitions on divisive concepts soon appeared in model bills backed by conservative think tanks and in state higher education laws, including in Florida in 2022. The next year, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis initiated a makeover of the new College of Florida, a small liberal arts school once known as the state's most progressive, by appointing a group of conservatives to its governing board. DeSantis then traveled to the campus to sign a law barring public funds from going to DEI activities in higher education or promoting political or social activism. That also seems like a good thing, right? Public funds shouldn't be going to DEI activities or promoting activism. That just makes sense. Governors and lawmakers this year have taken about twice as many actions targeting DEI initiatives as last year, according to an Associated Press analysis aided by the bill tracking software Plural. That's just like, if you want to spend your own money on like DEI activism and shit, fucking have at it, right? Like, that's your money, but you shouldn't be using public funds. You shouldn't be using other people's money, because when you spend other people's money, you tend to not care how much things cost, and a lot of these people end up getting very corrupt and giving themselves a big, nice, chunky paychecks. Among those is a new Idaho law that not only bans DEI offices and programs in higher education, but also addresses what's taught in the classroom. It prohibits colleges and universities from requiring students to take DEI-related courses to meet graduation requirements, unless they're pursuing degrees in race or gender studies. Which, I mean, those are useless degrees anyways, let's be fair. But also, that just makes sense. Why would you ever be required to spend money on DEI-related courses at a university, especially if you're not doing something in race or gender studies? That is just inflating your student debt for no fucking reason. The degrees are just a con. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that you can just learn on your own as well. You don't need a degree, and people just like dog on the trades all the time for some reason. In the same vein as this article and other crazy DEI nonsense, I have... Colleges are slightly less diverse as admissions officers seek ways to adapt post-affirmative action. Literal title just being like, oh no, there's now slightly more white people on campuses. Whatever will we do? The full impact of the Supreme Court's June 2023 ruling that colleges can't consider race in admissions may not be known for years. But a CBS News analysis of enrollment records shows the first class of freshmen since the High Court's order is a little less diverse than the class before it. The fact that they have to do admissions based on merit instead of by race, and now they're just like, uh-oh. College admissions experts say there are signs campuses will trend toward less diversity. At the same time, some universities are facing intensifying pressure from the Trump administration to eliminate diversity programs and remove international students. Not all international students. CBS News gathered first-year enrollment data from 116 colleges and universities, 76 of which considered race in admissions before the Supreme Court ruling. Do you remember how many articles we read where they're just like, no one was doing that. Race wasn't a factor, you guys. That's a lie. That's a far-right conspiracy theory. It's just that, you know, they're equal when they apply. And so we have all these equal candidates. The data showed the share of underrepresented minority students among those schools decreased by about 2 percentage points from fall 2023 to fall 2024. That is not a big dip at all. Literally 2% less quote-unquote diverse. 2% less diverse people. 2% more white people. And they're screeching about it already. That's fucking funny. Underrepresented minority students include Hispanic, Black, Indigenous, or Pacific Islander students. You're not allowed Asians. Fuck you guys. These are groups that have historically had disproportionately lower rates of college admissions. Among the 35 schools that did not previously consider race in admissions, the share of underrepresented minority students remained roughly the same. Wow! Imagine that. If they never took race into consideration, everyone who got in was meant to be there. Suggesting the ruling may have influenced diversity on campus. No! No, they're bringing it back to merit-based. Your race shouldn't get you considered higher than someone else for getting into a university. That's crazy. 5 schools did not report whether or not they considered race in admissions. That's weird. Changes in share of first-year underrepresented minority students at select colleges and universities. At all schools, it was 25.8. A graph shows the percentage of first-year underrepresented minority students across 116 schools. So, in 2023, there were 25.8 underrepresented minorities, or 25.8% underrepresented minority students. And in 2024, it was down by 0.8%! Oh no, those filthy white people! How dare they! Schools that previously considered race and ethnicity in admissions, in 2023, there were 20.6% underrepresented minority students. And in 2024, there were 18.6, so yeah, about a 2% drop. And then schools that did not previously consider race and ethnicity, in 2023, there were 31.5 underrepresented minority students. And in 2024, it's actually higher at 31.9%. Hold on, wait a minute. So all of these underrepresented minorities getting slots in schools that they have no business being in because their race is being considered in admissions, they were higher under those decrees in affirmative action, and less of them got accepted because they weren't qualified in 2024. However, the schools that did not consider race more underrepresented minorities got into those colleges that do not consider race as a factor after the affirmative action got struck down. So doesn't this empirically prove the fact that affirmative action did nothing but damage? And there was no fucking point of it at all? Remember, more Asians would be less diverse too. That's true. They could be counting white people and Asians in this because Asians also do very well in college admissions and college testing. So it could be including whites and Asians in the same group. That's what happens if you just shoehorn idiocy in. That's fucking crazy. This proves that the biggest recipients of DEI are white women. You know, that would be interesting to see. That would be interesting. Because, I don't know. Well, no, because they're not considering white people in the underrepresented minorities, because this is by race. This is by race. So this doesn't prove anything about white women. This proves white people versus everyone else, or possibly whites and Asians versus everyone else in admissions. And so after affirmative action got struck down, the colleges that did not consider race in their admissions had more underrepresented minorities get accepted after affirmative action was struck down. So the people that never considered race and only did it on merit. CBS News found the drop in diversity was even sharper at the most elite colleges and universities. At 17 schools that accept less than 10% of applicants, the share of minority students fell nearly 5 percentage points. This includes schools like Dartmouth, Princeton, Cornell, Brown, and Tufts. Despite this, the most selective schools still had a slightly higher share of underrepresented minority students than other institutions we collected data from. Share of first-year underrepresented minority students at select institutions with admission rates of 10% or less. So this was schools with the admission rate of 10% or less, 2023, and then it dropped to 4.5%. And then all schools percentage is down here with the 2% drop. While the one-year drop itself seems small, the fall 2024 semester was the first time the percentage of underrepresented minority students had decreased since at least 2015. And if we go back to that CAA white page, where they say that their shows are ranked on how diverse they are by how few white people are added into the TV shows and movies, again, like this qualification kind of makes sense to you when you read it. Share of first-year underrepresented minority students at select colleges and universities. This is all schools previously considered race and ethnicity is this one. And then did not previously consider race and ethnicity. Graph shows the percentage of first-year students of color in more than 100 schools. So what I'm wondering here is how come this graph has the previously considered race and ethnicity thing here, showing that there is a slight drop of 20.6 to 18.6, when this graph up here has it actually at a higher percentage? Because these are first-year underrepresented minority students across 116, and this one is first-year students of color in more than 100 schools. So what did they do to get this graph have a dip in comparison to the other one? Black students experienced perhaps the most significant one-year shift at the 76 schools that previously considered race and admission but no longer do. The average share of black students dropped from 6.4% in fall 2023 to 5.3% in fall 2024, the lowest level in the data collected since at least 2015. And these are all three here. There's all schools. This is all schools as previously considered race and ethnicity. And then this one is did not consider race and ethnicity, and this one has a large downturn. Early data sends up a warning flag. Dominique Baker, an associate professor of education and public policy at the University of Delaware, said it's still too early to draw any concrete conclusions from this data. We like to look at trends over a longer period of time because in any given year we could see a blip that goes up, a blip that goes down, Baker said. If the trend continues over 4 years, by the time these students are seniors, it could mean the campuses they attend will be significantly less diverse. For Baker, this sends up a warning flag. We're now starting to see early indicators that we might be seeing a negative trend developing in the share of students of color who are attending, particularly the underrepresented minority students that you all are talking about attending more selective institutions. Everything should be merit-based. Your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, none of that should get you a leg up over other people. She pointed to research out of California, one of the 9 states that had banned affirmative action prior to the Supreme Court ruling. I remember when California did this, And when we went over it on stream, they didn't ban affirmative action because they no longer wanted to count race in like admissions or job hiring. It was because in California, they wanted the ability to positively discriminate. And under affirmative action, you couldn't positively discriminate to the degree that they wanted to do. Weird memory from middle school. You remember a couple of classmates promoting Obama during his first election. It was in 2008, and the African Americans were female as well. I didn't have any black people at my high school, but we did have a lot of people promoting Obama. There was a lot of people wearing like the Hope shirts and shit. And I remember one chick who's like, well, I have to vote for Obama because he's got big dick energy because he's a black guy. And I was like, that seems like a really weird way to choose a fucking president, man. Like, I feel like that shouldn't matter. Obama's president. Black people can do whatever they want now. A 2020 study found that enrollment among Black and Latino students at UCLA and UC Berkeley, the more selective campuses in the University of California system, fell by 40 percentage points after voters outlawed race-conscious admissions. The state ban passed in 1996 and went into effect in 1998. It concluded that California's ban on affirmative action exacerbated socioeconomic inequities among Black and brown students. Interesting. They're talking about a 1996 thing. I remember California talking about the affirmative action thing only a few years ago, so maybe it was something else. Desmond Kuhn, an 18-year-old sociology and urban studies major at Columbia University who identifies as African American. Wait, are they African American or do they identify as African American? There's an important distinction to be made here. Said the Supreme Court ruling happened as he was starting to apply for college. It's very discouraging and also makes it harder to reach a lot of these, especially private elite universities, because a lot of generally Black and Hispanic communities don't have the same resources as, say, white and Asian communities. What the fuck does he mean by this? Your community resources don't fucking matter when you're applying to a college. It's about your individual resources. What kind of commie gobbledygook is this? And then on top of that, what a weird thing to say that, like, oh, if I don't get preferential treatment, I might not get into my college of choice. Well, who fucking cares? You don't deserve preferential treatment just because your skin is slightly darker than some other people. That's kind of fucking crazy. He said he saw the difference in resources between his predominantly Black high school in the suburbs of Detroit and the predominantly white private boarding school where he retook his SAT. I never had an opportunity to go to a predominantly white boarding school where I retook an SAT. I didn't have the opportunity to go to a better school district like this guy seemed to, so doesn't that mean that I am less privileged in comparison to him? Columbia University published first-year enrollment numbers for fall 2024, but in a different format than the federal data collection, which we used in our analysis. In Columbia's reporting, the percentage of students who self-identified as Black or African American dropped from 20% for the class of 2027 to 12% for the class of 2028. In this reporting method, students can identify with more than one race, whereas in the federal data, students could only pick one. Columbia declined to provide CBS News data in the same format used for the analysis of other schools, so the university is not included in our overall findings. Across all schools, the share of students who did not report their race and enrollment records and were classified as unknown grew significantly, the largest spike since at least 2015. I wonder how much of this spiking of people putting down unknown are minorities fearing that they're not going to get preferential treatment anymore by marking their race, so they go with unknown instead. Or how many are like me and have been conditioned that if you put your race down as Caucasian, you're going to be discriminated against. I've been marking unknown for many, many years, ever since I was given that advice by the state healthcare enrollment lady. When I called to enroll in state healthcare because I made too much money to get on Obamacare at my minimum wage job, but I didn't make enough money to be able to afford payments for actual healthcare, I called like the state-run healthcare line, and I was like, hey, is there anything like I can apply for? And when they got to the like identity portion, I was just like, oh yeah, female, oh yeah, Caucasian, and they were just like, I would heavily suggest, if you want a better chance of your application being accepted, that you do not self-report some of your identity markers. Like, they said it, I don't exactly remember the exact way they said it, but they said it in a very professional, I know this call is being recorded and I can't say it straightforwardly kind of way, right? And this is just a little graph thingy here with the big spikes. While the data suggests the start of a downward trend in the share of underrepresented minority students at colleges and universities, the jump in the unknown category means the racial makeup of the class of 2028 could be different than what is being reported. If many students who did not report their race were white, then the share of white students would be higher than the reported data might suggest, lowering the share of underrepresented minority students. But if the students who did not report their race were Black or Hispanic, then the share of Black or Hispanic students may be higher than what is reported. That's part of the really, really big challenge of charting and thinking through who is currently enrolling at colleges and universities after the Supreme Court decision. Tom De La Hunt, the vice president for strategic recruitment and enrollment at Southwestern University in Texas, said the drop in underrepresented minority students could also be because of problems with the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, that were at play while the future fall 2024 freshman class would have been making decisions about if and where to go to college. Typically, students can apply for the FAFSA on October 1st each year, but in 2023, the form wasn't available until December 30th. As a result, schools couldn't offer financial aid on time because they did not have the FAFSA information, forcing students to wait for delayed offers. Delays, glitches, and other issues led to a 9% decline in submitted FAFSA applications among first-time applicants, and an overall decline of about 432,000 applicants as of the end of August, said a report from the Government Accountability Office. What an interesting name for an office. De La Hunt said that many of the students who had delayed FAFSAs would likely only make decisions about schools if their family had the money to go ahead without knowing how much they were going to have to pay. But many underrepresented minority students may come from poorer families that could not afford to guess how much college would cost. I also feel like people really need to consider what they're going to college for. Like, you shouldn't go into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to go to college for a useless degree that you can only get some sort of DEI officer job with. The impact of diversity on campus. Experts said studies have found diversity of all kinds, not just racial diversity, is essential to students' education. These studies don't say that only students of color benefit from diverse learning environments. White students also benefit. Every student benefits from a diverse learning environment, Baker from the University of Delaware said. Jennifer Levine, a first-year student at Stanford University who's half Asian and half Jewish, agreed. She participates in a residential humanities program where she lives with the same students she takes classes with, a group she described as predominantly white. The uniformity, she said, makes for a worse learning space. What? How? In what way? I think that all academic environments are made better with more opinions, more experiences, people who have different sets of knowledge, she told CBS News. For me, as someone who's not Black reading Toni Morrison, I can't offer my perspective on that in the sense of race. Oh, okay. Stanford's first-year class has roughly half as many Black students this year compared to last year. Austin Shaw, one of the Black freshmen, said that he can see the difference. He lives in a dorm that is themed around the Black diaspora, and so many Black students choose to live there. All of us are very tight because we're literally like half of the Black freshman population, he said of his dorm mates. But when you go out into class, it's a completely different vibe. So wait a minute, hold on. This half Asian, half Jewish woman lives with predominantly white classmates, and she says that the uniformity makes for a worse learning space. But this Black freshman down here lives in a dorm area that he calls the Black diaspora because so many of the Black students live there. And that's not only perfectly fine, but that's a good thing. And he says that it needs to change when he goes outside because it's a different vibe. So which is it? Which do you want? Is the uniformity good or is it bad? Because it sounds like you're saying uniformity bad if there's too many white people, uniformity good if it's any other people. Shaw said that about half of the students in his high school in Los Angeles were Black. One of the reasons he chose Stanford over other California schools was that it had a higher proportion of Black students. So once again, is uniformity good or is uniformity bad? You become an expert on the subject of being Black. You become an expert on the subject of being Black, or you feel like you have to represent where you feel like you have to talk for your community. Or you could just be normal? What did he mean by this? He said, when I was in high school, where half of the class would be black, you wouldn't have that expectation. When I go out with, like, Tim and his mom, and we go to, like, predominantly Korean areas, and I'm, like, the only white person there, and I can't even read any of the fucking signs because they're all in Korean, and everyone around me is speaking Korean, and so I just look at Tim and I'm like, I don't know how to talk because I can't understand this. And then he responds to me in Japanese because he's a shit poster. Right, like, I don't feel like I need to suddenly start talking about white people. That's never been a thought in my brain. It's just been like, damn, I kind of wish I knew Korean so I knew what was going on. This is like the most NPC statement you've ever heard. Jesus, how about developing a personality? Why have a personality when you can just talk about your skin color all the time? Kirsche, the Caucasian expert. Yeah, I'm kind of an expert on white people. I've been white my whole life. Other ways to ensure a diverse student body. De La Hunt of Southwestern University said this ruling, along with other restrictions on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, have made his job harder. Oh, poor baby. He said his goal is to try and ensure that the student body reflects the community around it in Georgetown, Texas, just north of Austin. Well, now I'm a little curious, right? Let's go to his fucking city data. All right, so we got let me open my browser here. We got Georgetown, Texas. Population in 2022, 86,500, 97% urban. We got 41.3 thousand males, 45.1 thousand females. Median age is 42.6 years, so they're a little older than the Texas median age. All right, they make a little bit more money than the median Texas average here. They make about 95.1K a year. Estimated home value is pretty fucking high. Estimated home value here, dude. Let's see, this is their income, races. Here we go. All right. So it's 65.2% white, 19.8% Hispanic, 7.7% black, 4.9% Asian, and then the rest are American Indian, other races, or 2 and more. So it's like barely over 50% white. Barely over 50% white. So he wants to ensure the student body reflects the community around it in Georgetown. I don't have the numbers. Right, but if they have around 7% black students, their numbers would match the community. That's not a very high number. That school is going to be majority white still. Why would it even reflect the community around it? There's a reason why college towns exist. People come from all over to go to colleges. They don't just come from the local community. Yeah, you have a very good point there. Rich old white women. This, I love this website, by the way. This has nothing to do with the article, but, like, according to our research of Texas and other state lists, there were 116 registered sex offenders living in Georgetown, Texas. That's a lot of sex offenders for a college town. This ratio of all residents to sex offenders in Georgetown is 552 to 1. The ratio of registered sex offenders to all residents in this city is lower than the state average. And then you get a nice little graph here going back to 2010. Showing you all of the murders per 100,000 people, rapes, robberies, assaults, burglaries, thefts, auto theft, arson. It's pretty fucking great. I absolutely love this website. If you're looking to move, or if you're looking to, like, go to college in another town, fucking use this website. It's amazing. It's fucking amazing.